You know, I think one of the greatest things in life, perhaps the thing that makes life most enjoyable, is having friends. I've got some dear friends that I can make a fool of myself in front of them, and none of them feels like I've done a permanent job. You know, I can just be myself, let my hair down, as they say. And if you don't have friends, I'm telling you, you can. The Bible says, he that would have friends must show himself friendly. We're going to be talking about friendship today. Proverbs 18:1 says, the man who isolates himself rages against all wise judgment. And I immediately thought about Naaman, the Syrian. He had leprosy, went to the prophet, and the prophet said, go jump in the Jordan River 7 times. And Naaman went away in a rage. And we find the same phrase there, for he thought within himself. Surely I thought he was going to come out and do this and wave his arms, and it was supposed to happen this way, and man, our waters back home are cleaner than all the waters of Israel, and he's angry. But the difference between Naaman and that rich guy that God said your soul's going to be required of you, Naaman had a friend. And a friend chased him down and said, listen, you're not being rational here. You need to think this through. What he asked you to do is not that hard. Why not just go dip in the river? Just humble yourself and go do it. And he did, and he was healed. You see, without a friend, he never would have been healed. And I think without friends in our life, we miss so many blessings. We would miss the rich things in life. We have a very narrow perspective. And we find here in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, 4 reasons given why it's important to have a friend. Beginning in verse 9 of Ecclesiastes 4. It says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who's alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Again, if 2 lie down together, they'll keep warm, but how can one be warm alone? Though one may be overpowered by another, 2 can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Here we can see it's beneficial to have friends when it comes to work, our walk, warmth, and warfare. First of all, with work, 2 are better than 1. They have a greater reward for their labor. 2 can get more done than 1 can get done. And there is a greater production. There is a greater reward for it. And then with our walk, sometimes we stumble and fall. There are temptations, toils, and snares in this life. And thank God when you have a friend that can lift you up when you stumble. But woe to the person that's alone. And when it comes to warmth, how can one be warm alone? Life is pretty cold and pretty sterile when you're isolated and you don't have friends. But there's a warmth that friendship brings that makes life really worth living. And then with a warfare, 1 may be overpowered by an enemy, but 2 can withstand him. And we are in a spiritual warfare. We have an adversary, the devil, who walks about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Friendship makes life better. And our friends emerge from our acquaintances, from our companions. Sometimes a deeper relationship is formed. I think about Jesus himself, who were being conformed to his image. Jesus had the crowds, but he didn't just have the crowds. Out of the crowds came the 70. And he had the 70, it was a closer circle. And out of the 70, he had 12. Out of the 12, he had 3. Peter, James, and John. If you read through the Gospels, they accompanied him places that the others didn't. They shared fellowship with him that the others didn't. And we need to have different circles where people exist. There's the crowd, and then there people that we're acquainted with, and then we have people that we're more familiar with, and then we should have that inner circle of people that know us, for who we truly are, people that we can let our hair down with and be ourselves and don't have to worry about being judged. I remember my dad telling me when I was young, he said, son, if you grow up to have 2 or 3 close friends, you're a blessed man. And I believe he is true. I know there are some here today that when it comes to work, you feel pretty friendless. When it comes to your walk, you feel alone. When it comes to warmth, you feel like you don't have a friend. And when it comes to warfare, you feel alone as well. Well, I want to share with you some of God's eternal wisdom today from the book of Proverbs about friendship. We're going to talk about some of the benefits of friendship, some of the limitations of friendship, and then some practical advice for getting friends and keeping them once you've got them. So turn with me to the book of Proverbs, if you would. Proverbs 12. We'll begin there with a very, very wise statement. Proverbs 12 and 26. It says, "The righteous should choose his friends carefully, for the way of the wicked leads them astray." Choose your friends carefully, because friends bring influence to bear in your life. And if you choose the wrong friends, you're liable to be led astray by them. Proverbs 13 and verse 20. "He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed." Our friends influence us. I remember there was a point in my life I started hanging around with fools. I ended up in the back seat of a police car wearing handcuffs. More than once. But our friends do influence us. If we walk with wise men, we will be wise. If we walk with fools, we share in their reward as well. Look at Proverbs 22 with me, if you would. Proverbs 22 and verse 24. "Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man do not go, lest you learn his ways and set a snare for your soul." Don't make friends with angry and bitter people. You know, the other day I had a blue shirt on. It's a new shirt, and throughout the day I'm looking down and I'm trying not to be too obvious, but I'm thinking, man, looking at my wrist, thinking my veins are just popping out. Is it always that way? And I just never noticed it. And then I rubbed it and it came off. It was the blue dye from the shirt. When I got home that night, washcloth on the back of my neck and it came off blue. See, my shirt and I were having close fellowship, and that dye bled over into my skin. And when you have friendship and close fellowship with someone that's bitter or someone that's angry or someone that's cynical, their character and their attitudes will bleed over, and your soul, your thinking will become captured. Pretty soon, you'll be saying critical things like they're saying. You'll have a cynical attitude like they have. You'll be angry like they are. Our friends do influence us. You don't need to turn here, but the Bible says in Proverbs 27:19 in the Living Bible, "A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he's really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses." All right, look at Proverbs 27, and I hope you like turning in your Bible, because we're going to be looking at a lot of verses today, because God has a lot to say about friendship. Some of the benefits of friendship. Proverbs 27 and verse 6. "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." Here's a benefit in friendship: you get wounded. The idea is this, that a friend, knowing that it may hurt your feelings, is still going to tell you the truth, because they have your best interest at heart. They're looking down the road for your best interest, and they know if right now confronting you regarding something that's not right or that's going to prove harmful to you, if it's going to help you, they will do so. Look in verse 17. It says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend." I don't know if you've ever sharpened a knife on a whetstone or sharpened an axe head, but you have to rub it the wrong way, so to speak, and sometimes sparks fly a little bit. And when you confront a friend, sometimes sparks can fly. You may have to rub somebody the wrong way, but the result is they will stay sharp spiritually. It's not always easy to be someone's friend. No one relishes the idea of confronting someone when it is necessary. Here's one of the reasons why. Proverbs 28 and verse 23. "He who rebukes a man will find more favor afterward than he who flatters with the tongue." Everyone say afterward. That's because they may be upset with you to begin with. But afterward, when they've cooled down, they're liable to think, well, you know what? They really are my friend. And I don't think they'd say that just to hurt me. Maybe there's something I'm not considering here. You find favor afterward, maybe not immediately. It's good to work on the friendship first. And I do want to say this. It's not just about correcting. That would be the very small part of a friendship. The major part of it consists of affirmation, and encouragement and laughing together and just being together and dialogue and all of that. And a small part, when it comes up, may have to come down to confrontation. But it's not the major part. If all you want to do is confront people, you're not going to have many friends. If you feel it's your job in life to fix everybody, you're not going to have many friends. Look at Proverbs 27 in verse 9. It says, ointment and perfume delight the heart, and the sweetness of a man's friend gives delight by hearty counsel. A hearty counsel is not just rebuke, but it's that affirmation, it's that encouragement, it's that which, brings delight to your soul. And if someone knows that they can count on you to be prayerful and to share an honest perspective on things with them, you're going to find that you've got all the friends that you need. Now, here's another benefit. Proverbs 17 and verse 17. It says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Friends love through thick and thin, through times of abundance, through times of lack. When you do something really smart, when you do something really stupid, when you made a fool of yourself, a friend doesn't believe you've done a permanent job of it. When the whole world walks out, that's the time a friend walks in. A friend loves at all times, and yet that declaration is made in conjunction with a limitation, with an admonition. Look in the very next verse, verse 18. A man devoid of understanding shakes hands in a pledge and becomes surety for his friend. In other words, he co-signs for his friend's debt. Scripture warns against that. And you need to be very, very prayerful and thoughtful if you ever enter into that, because it basically says a person without understanding, you can be emotionally invested in a relationship and end up co-signing for something, and then if they can't pay, guess who has to? And a real friend is not going to pressure you to co-sign or to become responsible for their debts. Friends should be generous at all times, but not foolish. All right, let's look at some practical advice for getting and keeping friends. Are you ready? All right, number one, be friendly. Proverbs 18 and 24. A man who has friends must, everyone say must himself be friendly. But there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. If you want to be friends, you must be friendly. It's hard to be friends with somebody that's sour and sullen and negative all the time. But if you smile and be nice and stick out your hand, you'll be surprised at who will shake it. One of the little Peanuts cartoons, Charlie Brown went to Linus. Says, Linus, what would you say to someone that felt like nobody liked him? Linus said, well, I'd take a good hard look at myself, and I would ask myself, am I doing anything that turns people off? Is there anything that I need to change? He said, that's the answer I'd give Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown said, I hate that answer. If you want to have friends, you must be friendly. And there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And I know we always apply that to Jesus, and certainly it's applicable to him. But I think more than that. It's just telling us you need to be that glue friend. Endeavor to be a friend. You be there through thick and thin. You be there for people. You be a genuine friend, and you'll have all the friends that you need, rather than, I need friends. Just be a friend, and you will have friends. Be friendly, and you can have friends. All right, secondly, if you want to have friends and keep them, be faithful in your relationships. Proverbs 27 and verse 10. Be faithful in your relationships. It says, do not forsake your own friend or your father's friend, nor go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor nearby than a brother far away. And the word neighbor is the Hebrew word for friend. Better a friend nearby than a brother far off. You know, if your nearest relative lives in Cleveland or on the other side of the world and a crisis arises in your life, you're going to be in trouble if you don't have any friends. I think we can look at it this way. Better is a friend that's near spiritually than a brother or a family member that's far off spiritually. We need to have friends in the Lord. We need to have people that we're equally yoked together with spiritually. And then thirdly, if you want to have friends and keep them, be fuel for your friends, not just a source of fatigue. In other words, put something in your friend's tank. Don't always take out, but endeavor to fuel them up, not just get fuel from them. Look at Proverbs 25 and verse 17. Seldom set foot in your neighbor's house, and again, it's the Hebrew word for friend. Seldom set foot in your friend's house, lest he become weary of you and hate you. Well, I don't go to my friend's house that often. All right, let's just transpose that modern day. Your friend wakes up 8 a.m., turns on their mobile phone, 11 calls, 11 missed calls. Let's see, Judy, 14 texts, Judy. Well, it's a little better than yesterday. I only had 13 texts by 8 a.m. You see, there's some people that are so clingy and so needy, they encroach on other people's space. You know, Janet and I, we've been married 31 years. We've got a great marriage, but we've learned to give each other space. We don't live in each other's back pockets. You know, she gives me my own private time and I give her hers. We love being around each other, but not all the time. And you may have a friend that genuinely loves you, genuinely likes being your friend, but you are wearying them. You're wearing them out. Give them some space. Don't be so needy that you have to call them and call them and call them and call them and call them. Everybody say space. You should touch your neighbor, say give them some space. Endeavor to put fuel in your friend's tank, not just always have them put fuel in your tank. If you want to be a real friend, and you need to be genuine in doing so. It can't be contrived. Look with me at Proverbs 27 and verse 14. He who blesses his friend with a loud voice rising early in the morning, it will be counted a curse to him. And the idea is meant, he hadn't even had time to do anything yet today, and you're singing his praises? Come on, that's not genuine. That's insincere. That's flattery. At least give him a chance to get up and brush his teeth and do something. At least you can say, hey, I like the way you brushed your teeth. Number 4, if you want to have friends and keep them, be fiercely loyal to your friends. Be fiercely loyal. And that includes, among other things, do not listen to or speak gossip about your friends. Proverbs 17 and verse 9. He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates friends. Keep their faults to yourself. You know, I've got friends and they're quite familiar with my shortcomings and my faults, but thank God they don't broadcast that. And you may know some private stuff about your friend, but anytime you share that stuff with someone that's not part of the problem or part of the solution, there's a word for it. It's gossip. You're a talebearer, and you're not being a true friend. You keep your friends' private stuff private. You keep your friends' faults private. Don't go talking behind their back. You know, also in Proverbs, and it's strong language, in Proverbs 6 it says there's 6 things that the Lord hates. And one of them is a person that whispers and sows strife between friends and brothers. God, the Bible says, God hates a talebearer, a gossip. And I know I just took half of some people's life away. What am I going to do? I can't gossip. Well, get a life. There's better things to do than gossip about people. couple of friends of mine were out with an acquaintance in a restaurant, and they started talking about some guy. And this acquaintance, I didn't know him well, but I knew the other guys pretty well. They said, Bayless, when we started talking about this guy, he picked up his chair in the restaurant, turned it around backwards, and sat with his back to us with his arms crossed. He said, we became quiet. He waited a minute and then turned the chair back around, never said a word, but we got the message. He says, how wrong we were in gossiping about that person. You know, friends will help us in those ways if we're off the rails, and I'm just trying to help you today. All right, number 5, if you want to have friends and keep them, be fair in your expectation of your friends. Be fair in your expectations. Don't expect your friends to do for you what only God can do. Don't expect your friends to be to you what only God can be to you. Don't expect your friends to provide for you what only God can provide for you. Jan and I have been married 31 years. And during the early part of our marriage, we went through this probably just maybe a 3-week period. And I'm not breaching of confidence. Janet has shared this herself from this pulpit. So, you know, she shared it. But it went through about a 3-week period. She was mad at me all the time. And I'm thinking, okay, this is just one of those dumb husband things. I'm not getting it. You know, I realized that, you know, ladies communicate differently, and I'm trying to understand, but I can't work out why. So I was out golfing, and she got mad at me for being golfing. I said, okay, I won't golf anymore. And she's mad at me because I'm home. And it's like, she's mad. It's sort of like, you know why Solomon had 1,000 wives? So he could come home and find one of them in a good mood. No, it's not true, not true. That's just a joke. Just a joke. Just a joke. Didn't mean it. Didn't mean it. And, you know, we could talk about the pressure I brought to bear on the marriage, but I'm the one preaching, so I don't have to. But Janet knelt down in the living room one day and said, God, I got a problem. Help me. And God spoke to her heart as she was on her knees and said to her, Janet, you're expecting Bayless to provide things for you that only I can provide for you. And from that day, it changed. And we've never been visited with that again, ever, in our marriage. You know, there's some of you out here, some single people. You know, you're thinking, oh, I just got to find that person that's going to make me complete. I'm going to prophesy to you, you're headed for rough water. If you've got to find somebody that makes you complete, you can find your completeness in God. It takes 2 whole people to make a healthy relationship. 2 needy people in a relationship, you're going to have problems. Find your contentment in God. Find your wholeness in God. And when you do that and stop worrying about finding that person that's going to make me complete, generally they show up once you get some wholeness going in your own life. Concentrate on your relationship with God. You know, find your stability there. And then you can give yourself as a whole, stable person to somebody else and not be looking to someone else to prop you up all the time, because you're headed for a dysfunctional, unhealthy relationship. Find what you need in Him. We shouldn't be unfair in our expectations with relationships. And you know, the most important relationship is our relationship with God. In Isaiah 41:8, Abraham is called the friend of God. You can be the friend of God as well. You know, Jesus made this statement in John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. But Jesus went beyond that. The Bible says when we were enemies, Christ died for us. When we were sinners, Christ died for us, not when we were friends. He took our place when we were on the outside. And He gave us access to be on the inside, to know God as Father and as friend. It's really more than the heart and mind can take in if you think about it. God wants you to be family. He wants you to be a friend. Friendship with God. And friend, it's not some abstract idea. He wants to walk and to talk with us, to communicate with us, to fellowship with us. You know, it's the funniest thing. I've got a few hobbies, and sometimes when I am 30 feet under the surface of the ocean, holding my breath, I get a sense of God just delighting in the fact that I'm having fun. It is the oddest, most amazing, most comforting, most humbling thing that I could describe to you. It's, you know, like I'm out there with friends, but I'm out there with my friend, my Heavenly Father as well. Somebody says, well, God wouldn't accept me. You don't know what I've done. He wouldn't reject you. Jesus said, he that comes to me, I will not cast out. I won't turn aside. Doesn't matter what you've done, what you failed to do, you are loved by God. As I was just saying in my message, I think God is delighted when we enjoy life. Do you know the Bible says that He's given us all things richly to enjoy? God is not a stuffed shirt. I honestly don't think He wears a tie and uncomfortable shoes. I think God is the creator of laughter. He is the creator of relationships. He wants to be your friend, and that happens when you come to Him through Jesus Christ. Why not open your heart to His Son today?
We all have a desire for clear direction, a compass to point us the right way, to have trustworthy direction during the challenging times of life, and guidance for the decisions that confront us each day. God is ready to give you that guidance through the gift of the Holy Spirit. Imagine taking every step in life with the Creator of all, guiding you, giving direction, and ultimately helping you fulfill your purpose. Today, Bayless would like to send you a very encouraging message on CD or DVD called God's Guidance for Every Believer, to thank you for your gift to help this program bring our living Jesus to a dying world. So call the number on your screen with your gift right now. When you support Answers with Bayless Conley, you reach out across our nation and around the world, revealing hope to the lost, bringing answers from God's Word to those struggling with life's deep and most difficult questions. So thank you for calling the number on your screen with your gift today. And when you do, be sure to request your copy of God's Guidance for Every Believer, which will further your understanding of the role of the Holy Spirit in your life to guide you every step of the way. Thank you for helping us bring our living Savior to a dying world.